My lords, today I bring grave news. We have intercepted a distress call, and the signal appears to be old, far older than the age of humanity. It details a new threat, and names it as the Blokkat Harvesters. We speculate, my lords, that perhaps this entity is the ever-elusive hunters that we know so little about. The distress call contained within it several large data files detailing everything the now likely long-dead race knew concerning the Blokkat Harvesters. I shall present this to you now, and it begins with a message. To whoever receives this data, I wish you a better fate than the one that befell my people. I have attempted to cram all we discovered about the Blokkat Harvesters into these data packets. I shall not go into the destruction of my race beyond the explicit warning that it was brutal. We were at the height of galactic power. No one in our galaxy could challenge our mighty fleets, and yet we were savagely broken apart by the slow, methodical tactics used by the Blokkats. We did not win a single skirmish or engagement of scale. I hope the data I include gives you the edge you need to defeat this monster. Today we shall cover the Blokkats' primary goal and their initial movements into the galaxy, who or what they are, the Blokkat Origins, and what happened to the galaxy that we received this message from. We shall begin with the Blokkats' primary goal, Objective Alpha. The Blokkats' ultimate goal is to harvest an amalgamation of all galactic energy, literally everything produced on a stellar level. They transport this energy into a construct called the Blokkonstruct, a humongous galaxy-sized structure which serves as their capital and base of operations. It appears that this effort is undertaken in order to halt cosmic expansion and prevent the universe from ending due to heat death. This primary objective, to all of our understanding at least, is the Blokkats' sole reason for existing, and it is of course done to the utter detriment of all other sapient life forms, who are in most cases considered to be little more than fluctuations in energy levels by the Blokkats. They are by far the deadliest civilization that we have ever encountered or heard of in the universe, and the death toll caused by their harvesting operations is simply unquantifiable. Countless civilizations in numerous galaxies having been utterly swept away and dissolved into energy by the Blokkats' relentless harvest. What merely started as a mundane survey of our galaxy's immediate galactic neighborhood became quite interesting when we spotted an intriguing occurrence. An unusually high concentration of matter had been discovered roughly 1 million light-years away from the edge of our galaxy, revealed to our tachyonic instruments by the fact the light and space curve significantly when in proximity to the object. Its exact nature was unknown, but it appeared to be highly energetic. We thought it was most likely a rogue microquasar passing through our local group. Most interestingly, it is emitting recurring patterns of electromagnetic radiation cohesive with the rapid rotation of the massive and active celestial body. Perhaps the most intriguing part is that the object appears to be moving faster than light, but the intense curvature of spacetime surrounding it precludes velocity measurements. Further observations will be completed, but currently we feel it unlikely that it is anything of major interest. While undertaking a prolonged study of the anomaly that we discovered a few months ago, our intergalactic measuring instrument revealed that the object was not moving in a straight line, but was actually following a gentle curve relative to our galaxy, placing it on a firm escape trajectory outside our local group. That is until the object suddenly came to a complete halt within intergalactic space, bleeding off every last bit of speed in less than a second. It remained still for a couple of hours and then instantaneously sped up to its original speed in yet another physics-defining move. This second demonstration of power only added to the initial shock. Revised trajectory calculations have shown, assuming it doesn't suddenly change course again, this intergalactic phenomenon is now on a direct collision course with our galaxy. A myriad of theories have sprung up to explain how and why it altered its trajectory so suddenly. These ranged from a natural FTL drive, possibly made out of a black hole and a white hole pair, feeding into one another. Another idea is that it might be a rogue quasar travelling on some sort of intergalactic hyperlane. Regardless of the object's actual nature, it is currently about 1 million light years away from us, and the updated velocity measurements estimate it to be moving approximately 10,000 times the speed of light, meaning that we should expect to meet this visitor within the decade. We continue to monitor for further developments. The intergalactic object is now less than 300,000 light years away from us, and as such, we have been able to more accurately determine its future trajectory and where it is likely to impact in our galaxy. Based on its current trajectory and barring any sudden changes, the object should make contact with our galaxy within the Sethelbach system, a system currently outside of our territory. The Sethelbach system sits in Supau cooperative occupied space. Assuming the object ends up decelerating like it did within intergalactic space, we estimate that the subspace recoil from this sudden deceleration will end up completely obliterating the entire system, star and planetary bodies included. We have sent a warning to the Supau cooperative in the hope they can evacuate their population from the system's occupied worlds. Within a standard month, the intergalactic object finally entered our galaxy. Just as expected, right as it entered Supau space, it proceeded to instantaneously decelerate, causing a subspace recoil which utterly obliterated the entire system. When the resulting subspace distortion finally cleared, the object's nature was finally revealed. As some expected and many feared, it is indeed a colossal spaceship, or rather, appears to be a multitude of vessels forming an intergalactic fleet. It appears to consist of a humongous central vessel, resembling a triple ringworld, arranged around an artificial black hole surrounded by several large crafts, who have an array of smaller escort vessels. The fleet's purpose currently remains unclear. However, whoever occupies this ship has transmitted a powerful subspace signal across our galaxy. It reads, "Greetings to whoever it may concern. The Blokkat Vesta and its surrounding fleets have made contact with your galaxy. We shall make ourselves clear, as approximation and mystery breed inefficiency. We have come to your galaxy in search of pure, raw energy, and our fleets shall harvest every last bit of matter, vacuum fluctuations, and background radiation from it. If this inconveniences you, your civilization may leave the galaxy, and we shall not pursue you. Do not attempt to slow us down, as this will only accelerate your demise." The broadcast left no room for creative interpretation of the Blokkat's purpose and goals. The beings are evidently going to attempt to dismantle our galaxy to fuel their own industrial needs, regardless of our presence and thoughts. Although the exact method which they will employ to do so is unknown, long-range scans have already been undertaken on their colossal mothership in the Sethelbach system, in the hope to assess its strength. Unfortunately for us and the rest of the galaxy, the scans paint a grim picture. The mothership appears to be surrounded by a colossal energy barrier. This shield is approximately 2 quadrillion times more powerful than anything we have ever manifested into existence. As it stands, their mothership and everything within the surrounding system would be completely invulnerable to all forms of damage, regardless of their source of intensity. The shield only extends to the mothership systems, however, meaning that any Blokkat ships venturing to neighbouring systems should be able to be attacked, and with luck, destroyed. For now, we shall attempt to conduct further analysis on the mothership's shield in the hope that we gain insights into how to destabilize it. For if we are going to prevent the Blokkats from entirely consuming our galaxy, we need to destroy that vessel. The Blokkats wasted no time beginning their harvesting operations of our galaxy, with one of their first proper targets being the Denikoth system. We naturally assumed that they would employ some sort of self-replicating robot to steadily dismantle planets, or perhaps a colossal gravity beam to pull apart celestial bodies and harvest them for useful materials. But the truth turned out to be far, far grimmer than anything we had previously imagined. Upon entering the Denikoth system, a vessel we have designated a Blokkat dismantler began to take in humongous proportions of energy. Once the craft was done powering up its harvesting devices, capacitors bursting with barely contained power, the system was immediately engulfed in a colossal flash of immensely bright light, which once subsided revealed nothing. The system was, by all definitions, completely gone. Not only did its star and planet vanish, but the gas clouds and radiation surrounding the former system had also been entirely removed, presumably harvested and converted into raw energy by the Blokkat dismantler. In fact, immediate analysis following the event has revealed that the system's temperature dropped to practically zero, implying that every last bit of energy had been sucked out of it. As a result, the system is effectively completely dead, utterly drained of everything, absolutely everything it may have once contained. And thus, the war for my galaxy began. The Blokkats were undeniably thorough in their methods of energy extraction, proceeding to head into neighbouring systems one by one, and not expanding beyond their dismantler vessels. It took them many months to extract the energy from one system, which gave us a chance, at least in theory, to come up with a way to break through their mothership's shield array. Many months have passed since my last entry, and the Blokkats tirelessly and lumberingly expand into our galaxy. However, our science teams have now completed an initial analysis of the Blokkat Vesta's shield array, which the teams have dubbed the Blokkat Hyperdimensional Bulwark. Quite the mouthful. The data we have been able to remotely collect on the shield, through analysis of the distortion patterns it emits within both subspace and hyperspace, converge to a single conclusion. The shield is, much like many modern mega-engineering projects, is partially hosted within a higher dimension. According to our scientists, what this means is the shield is constantly cycling between three-dimensional space and another fourth dimension which surrounds our reality. As expected, this partially explains how much energy the shield is capable of storing and manipulating in order to defend the Vesta. Unfortunately for us, much of the shield's inner workings remain a mystery, but the science teams tell me several theories are already being tested in order to bring that shield down. The most prominent being the construction of a specialized gigastructure, which in theory would be able to disturb the hyperdimensional bulwark's mechanisms and hopefully knock it out, if only temporarily. Despite the positive news, we are likely still many years away from developing the technology and constructing the machine. Work shall continue, and let us hope the Blokkats do not increase the pace of their consumption. While work continues on the development of the shield destabilizer, we have also conducted a thorough analysis on various subspace frequencies emanating to and from the Blokkat Vesta. Combining this with remote observations of their spaceship has yielded several valuable insights regarding the Blokkats and their civilization. Contrary to our initial beliefs, the Blokkats are not in fact a hive mind of machines, but rather a species of individual beings who appear to inhabit synthetic bodies. Each of these beings possess complete free will, but they are, regardless, connected to one another by a colossal information network hosted within a higher dimension which connects all the Blokkats together. This effectively enables the instantaneous transfer of data from one Blokkat to another, irrespective of distance. Further study of this information network, which is apparently called the Blockwork by the Blokkats, has worryingly revealed that the Blokkats in our galaxy are actually an extremely small part of the complete Blokkat civilization, who apparently operates at least 2,000 such motherships across the universe. We shall revisit the Blockwork shortly, but first we believe, although this is not confirmed, the synthetic beings are inhabited by a consciousness or entity that actually resides within something called the Blokkonstruct, their massive home base of operations. This consciousness embeds themselves within the Blokkonstruct and usually interacts with the world using a Blokkframe, which are thus little more than puppets controlled remotely from the Blokkonstruct. Most of these Blokkframes measure no more than a single meter in height, but they can alter their density at will, effectively letting them grow and shrink. These Blokkframes can then theoretically shrink to the size of an atom, but to do so requires a tremendous amount of energy. They can also change their external appearance and shape according to their Blokkat's desire. and can even transform into a near-perfect replica of another alien species. This method appears to be most commonly used by curious Blokkats to study other alien civilizations. While monitoring the myriad of heavily encrypted signals emanating from the Blokkat Vesta, both within real space and the blockwork, our science teams have made an intriguing discovery. Indeed, a very specific pattern of data is seemingly being repeated and relayed constantly by the Vesta, which has only intensified in frequency since the Blokkats' arrival in our galaxy. Our researchers are confident that whatever is being constantly relayed through the blockwork by this signal must be of significant importance to the Blokkats, and are working hard to decrypt it in the hope that we may discover some hidden weakness. As it currently stands, the message is primarily being relayed through the blockwork, presumably intended for the rest of the Blokkat civilization, but the sheer frequency and intensity of it means the transmission somewhat leaks into real space, which will hopefully facilitate its analysis by our researchers. This message could be anything from a simple warning to perhaps just mundane harvesting statistics, but it would be unwise to outright ignore this evidently important transmission. Through a thorough analysis, our scientists have managed to partially decrypt the mysterious recurring Blokkat transmission. The conclusion is that the transmission is centered around a set of coordinates, and while the transmission remains far too encrypted for us to truly comprehend, the rest of the message is apparently intended to carry a warning. While some of the more supremacist elements of our civilization believe that they may have been talking about our own homeworld, this myth was quickly dashed when further decryption of the numerical system employed by the Blokkats to keep track of special locations revealed that the coordinates pointed to none other than the primitive world of Palushia in the Gatso system. We sent a science team to investigate. After all, why would the Blokkats be so concerned with one primitive planet? Upon arrival in the Gatso system, our ship reported that this world was quite different. Gone was the vibrant world of psionic lagomorphs. Instead, it had been replaced by a boiling vortex of psionic power, surrounded by a deadly cloud of energy. It appears that the entire world has been enveloped in a cataclysmic energy which forbids any vessel from getting too close to the surface, lest they undergo catastrophic disintegration. It is evident that this sudden change was likely triggered by the Blokkats' arrival within our galaxy. Our research teams are confident that this indicates that the inhabitants of the planet likely possess knowledge regarding the invaders, and as such we should attempt to break through the thick psionic fog and establish contact with them. Our science vessel attempted to unload humongous quantities of energy into the planet's atmosphere. The outermost layer of the psionic vortex began to unravel, revealing additional layers of psionic storms. However, some of these storms began to violently and erratically leak out of the atmosphere, and quickly coalesce into a colossal psionic manifestation. This manifestation is now violently discharging large quantities of psionic thunder towards our vessel. The entity will have to be destroyed if we are to continue our investigation further. Fortunately, the entity quickly fell to our cyclonic torpedoes. With the demise of this entity, the inner layers of the planet's psionic storm are now accessible, although it remains highly energetic and dangerous. The scientists are confident that the expeditions could be sent into the depths of the planet, provided they have sufficient protection. A team is being assembled, and we are launching them within the hour. After many weeks of carefully navigating through thick psionic fog, our expedition vessel has finally breached the cloud's lowermost layer and has arrived on the planet's surface. They were greeted by the sight of thousands upon thousands of Palushes, partaking in some sort of collective transcendence, some of them seemingly frozen in place while constantly discharging vast quantities of psionic energy into the planet's atmosphere. Others were constantly patrolling the planet, as if supervising the entire operation. The aliens did not seem to notice or care about our expedition, which navigated through the entrance crowds and towards a colossal spire near the planet's northern hemisphere. Interestingly, the planet's surface did not seem to have been drastically altered. Its verdant plains would be quite the hospitable place if not for the crushing quantities of psionic energy swelling around the planet. Upon getting close to the spire, the ship's crew reported that a psionic entity manifested itself within their very consciousness. This entity called itself the Grand Bunny, and according to it, it was the matriarch and protector of the Palash species, and wished to communicate with us further. My lords, I feel I must interject here to make a point. I promise you these files have been thoroughly vetted, and as ridiculous as it sounds, the translation is indeed correct. This matriarch's title is correctly translated to the Grand Bunny. I will not detail the exploration of the Palash planet and the communion with the Grand Bunny any further, but I shall say it appears that they knew the Blokkats. They had warred with them many times, many millennia ago. I shall cover this set of events in a future report. With that said, back to the data crystals and the story that they contain. Unsurprisingly, all of this information, along with the sheer nature of the Blokkats, is having a very poor effect on the citizens of our empire. The sheer existential stress triggered by the cold brutality of the Blokkats has spread to permeate all layers of our society, from its lowest castes to our highest ruling elites. The stress has been dubbed Blokkat Inquietude by our society researchers, and we shall have to keep a watchful eye to ensure it does not get out of hand. Furthermore, there are reports coming in that the Technosphere Union, a collective machine empire, has decided to side with the Blokkats. They appear to be constructing Blokkat pylons on their planets and assisting with the harvesting of our universe. The situation is extremely dire. Many years have passed since my initial entries into these logs. I have grown old, and we estimate that approximately 68% of the galaxy has been consumed by these abhorrent creatures. Nevertheless, I am pleased to report that finally our scientists believe they now have a way to breach the shields surrounding the Blokkat Vesta mothership. We have constructed a mighty space station, by far the largest undertaking our civilization has ever set to. We call this gigastructure the Hyperdimensional Destabilizer. I've included precise specifications of how to build this gigastructure in these data crystals, should our attempt to defeat the Blokkat fail. When fired, we estimate it will knock out the Vesta's shield grid for an undetermined amount of time. This will be our window to destroy it. I'm told that side effects across the galaxy may occur. Regular void shields will also be affected, but FTL travel may be significantly sped up. At this point, it is our only hope. We will fire the device and launch an all-out assault against the Blokkat mothership. Every ship we have will be sent into that system. Even transport ships and pleasure craft are being retrofitted for war. This will be our final stand. May our children forgive us, should we fail. Reports are coming back from our deep space sentry arrays monitoring the Sethelback system and the armada that we sent to deal with the Blokkat mothership. It appears the threat remains. Our fleet has been utterly destroyed. There is little left to say. Word has already spread into the general population. We are all dead. There is nowhere to run to, no escape from these methodical creatures. It is over. My only hope is that the information provided within these logs is worth something. I implore you, do not suffer hubris as we did. Prepare for these creatures, and if you are able to, seek them out and destroy them. Good luck. As you heard, my lords, these Blokkats described present quite the threat. Within these documents we have received many blueprints, beyond just the hyperdimensional destabilizer. It appears the age of megastructures is over. The age of gigastructures has begun. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed. If you're new around here, please don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out. If you want to hear an origin story about the XT489 Eliminator, then please click the video on screen now.